Hello everyone. Welcome to the third part of the second chapter that we were revising. So let's have a brief review of whatever we have done. So the chapter is about physical features of India, and broadly, these are the six physiographic zones in which we can divide India. So we had done the Himalayan mountain system, northern plains, the peninsular plateau in the last two videos, two parts. Okay. Now we will start with the last three remaining topics. Let's start with Indian desert. So the Indian desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills. Western margins of the Aravalli Hills. It is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. This region receives very low rainfall. So important features we will continue to highlight. Sand dunes. This region receives very low rainfall, below 150 mm per year. It has arid climate with low vegetation cover. Streams appear during the rainy season. Soon after they disappear into the sand as they do not have enough water to reach the sea. Luni is the only large river in this region. Birchens, I hope that is how it is pronounced, cover crescent-shaped dunes cover larger areas, but longitudinal dunes become more prominent near the Indo-Pakistan boundary. If you visit Jaisalmer, you may go to see a group of birchens. Okay, so that's about it. So let's cover it briefly, important aspects only. The Indian desert, western margins of the Aravalli Hills. So let's see in the map. So we have here the Aravalli range, right? Western margin. If you go westward, Aravalli range actually extends up to Delhi, you can say, from Gujarat. So the western margin you have the desert areas. Okay, these are all Great Indian Desert. Next is it is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. So that is obvious, the very nature of desert. This region receives very low rainfall. So an important figure is being given below 150. And 150 in how much time frame? Not on daily basis, that will change the figure. Per year. Below 150 mm or 15 centimeter per year. Arid climate, well known. Just understanding, just associate the terms. For example, arid is about desert. Semi-arid is about grasslands. Similarly, low vegetation, very obvious. Streams means any water flow that happens. So streams appear during the rainy season, so they are ephemeral. We use the term ephemeral. Ephemeral is seasonal kind of term. Okay, and then you have perennial. So, for example, Ganga will be a perennial river. So, be it summer or be it rainy season, be it winter, Ganga will always have water. The water will have the volume may change, but it's not like the river will get dry in any season. But in the desert regions, you have seasonal rivers. Soon after, they disappear into sand as they do not have enough water to reach the sea. Also, they do not reach the sea. Even the seasonal rivers, they lack the volume required to reach the sea, which will be the western margin of the India, which is Arabian Sea. So, the rivers flowing in desert regions, which are seasonal, they will end in the river only and you will further uh, read about the landforms associated with such rivers. For example, Playa Lake, etc., is formed by such rivers. Inland, it is also called as inland drainage. Inland drainage. Because the water is the end point of the seasonal rivers is within the land itself. And which is the most important river? Luni. That you have to keep in mind. Let's see if it is shown in the map. So Luni is not shown in this map. You can locate it on a larger atlas, proper atlas. Okay, Luni River. And where it ends, what is the end of Luni River? That also you should find. Is it the Kutch region, the marshy Kutch region? And you should try to find out. Next is the landforms associated. Some few landforms have been mentioned. For example, birchens are mentioned. Birchens are this crescent shaped. So crescent shaped means this kind of shape it will have. So suppose wind is flowing in this direction. So sand will be collected in this manner. Similar other birchens will be there, lying parallelly. So this is a very common view of deserts. Okay, you must have often seen it in the photos and videos in movies. More prominent near the Indo-Pakistan boundary is what? It is the longitudinal dunes. And what are longitudinal? When they are almost parallel. If the wind is slightly faster and they are converging from every side, so what will then these layers will become parallel to the wind. Okay, you must have seen this also wavy shaped, and wind will flow in these gaps. Okay, so this is the longitudinal dunes. You will read more about them in 11th class landforms chapter. So the next topic is the coastal plains. The peninsular plateau is flanked by stretch of narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal on the east. The western coast sandwiched. Now we are talking about western coast. So first let us locate narrow coastal strips and peninsular plateau is flanked. So the coastal plains, the coastal narrow coastal strips are flanking the peninsular plateau. Let's see on the map. So if you see, one coastal area is this one, the highlighted zone. That is the western coast. And you have this is the eastern coast. In fact, it will start much early, right? Go right up to the West Bengal, from Tamil Nadu to West Bengal. So the western coast, sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea, is a narrow plain. So we had seen that the Western Ghats is almost at the boundary, and so the western coast is very narrow plain. It does not extend much in the inside. So the western coast, sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea, is a narrow plain. Okay, because Western Ghats is almost at the boundary at the western coast. So there is very narrow area for the plain to exist. It consists of three sections. Now that is important. And now we are classifying the western coast of India. The northern part of the coast is called Konkan, and it includes Mumbai and Goa coast. The central stretch is called Kannada Plain. while the southern stretch is referred to as Malabar coast. So Kannada plain will include the Karnataka part, and Malabar coast, as the name implies, will include the Kerala part. Okay, let's once locate in the map. So as you can see, this is the Konkan coast, Maharashtra and Goa, and this is the Malabar coast that is mentioned, and in between you will have Kannada coast. Now, the plain along the Bay of Bengal are, now we are moving to eastern coast. The plains along the Bay of Bengal are wide and level. Wide, you have to understand the characteristics. They are wide and level. Level means there are lesser undulations, topography is flatter, that is a more flatter structure compared to the western coast. In the northern part, it is referred to as the northern circars. Now we are studying the classification of the division of the eastern coastal plain. So first you have in the north, northern circar. So again, you must have heard this if you have studied the British history. So these terms were used in those times. While the southern part is known as Coromandel coast. Large rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, and Krishna and Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. So in these coasts, on eastern coast, you also have deltas made by these prominent rivers of South India. Lake Chilika is an important feature along the eastern coast. So you have few lakes also. Try to locate all the important lakes. For example, Lake Chilika is there, Pulicat Lake is there. So try to locate all such wetlands, and you will have important wildlife sanctuaries, national forest regions, and those things. Try to locate on the map. For example, Lake Chilika is the largest saltwater lake in India. So similarly, such figures can be found out. For example, largest saltwater, largest freshwater will also be there. Highest saltwater, you will have some lakes where it is located, most probably in Ladakh. Then you will have highest freshwater. So all such GK type of facts could also be prepared along with this. You can just make a box and write all such facts at one place. It lies in the state of Odisha, Chilka Lake, south of the Mahanadi Delta. So let's once see the northern Sarkar and Coromandel coast in map. So if you see Mahendragiri, you see Mahendragiri was what? It was the highest peak in Eastern Ghat. That is here in Odisha. Also, northern Sarkar you have here. Northern Sarkar, that is mostly Andhra Pradesh. Some part of Odisha might be there. Coromandel coast is here. Hmm. Coromandel coast. Mahanadi Delta. Deltas were also there on the coasts. For example, these are all deltas, Godavari and Kaveri Delta. So prominent deltas are also there. Then you have Chelika Lake, south of Mahanadi. Now now we will start with the islands. So you have already seen that India has a vast mainland. Besides this, the country has two groups of islands. Can you identify these island groups? Locate the Lakshadweep Islands group. Again, very much in news in recent times. So I don't think anyone will have problem locating the Lakshadweep Islands group. Lying close to the Malabar coast of Kerala. Malabar coast of Kerala. This group of island is composed of small coral islands. That is important. Earlier, they were so small coral islands. The Lakshadweep Islands, they are made by what? They are coral islands made by corals. Okay, so if different kinds of islands you will study in future classes. There are different processes of making islands. Islands could be of different natures. So tectonic activities could make some, volcanic activities could make some, corals can make islands. Then submergence of old land masses could create some islands. Different processes can create islands. So what are Lakshadweep? Lakshadweeps are coral islands. That is an important. Earlier they were known as Lakkadiv, Minicoy, and Amindiv. In 1973, these were named as Lakshadweep. So earlier there were three prominent names of three major islands in the group, and they were named as Lakshadweep in 1973. It covers small area of 32 square kilometer. So what is the area? Only 32 square kilometers. Kavaratti, again an important. Kavaratti Island is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. An important data. This island group has great diversity of flora and fauna. So great diversity of flora and fauna. Again, because it is almost coming in the equatorial region or tropics. It is coming in the tropics, right? So tropics will have favorable conditions for great diversity of flora and fauna. The Piti Island, which is uninhabited, has a bird sanctuary. So Piti Island, it is uninhabited, people are not living there, and it has a bird sanctuary, so it becomes important. So those are some of the important figures related to Lakshadweep Island group. Now what are corals? Coral polyps are short-lived microscopic organisms which live in colonies, and such colonies may extend to hundreds of kilometers in the oceans. They flourish in shallow. Now, the conditions suitable for coral polyps to survive and flourish is given shallow. The depth should not be much. Depth of ocean water should not be much. So bottom should be within some range, and sunlight should reach there. Mud free. So water should be clean, warm waters, and they need some temperature requirement is there. So in tropics only they are found. They will not be found above tropics. For example, temperate regions, polar regions, corals are not found. They secrete calcium carbonate. So they create this structure made up of calcium carbonate. The coral secretion in their cell skeletons from coral deposits in the form of reefs. And because of this secretion at large scale, coral reefs are formed. Hmm. They are mainly of three kinds. So three kinds of reefs can be found: barrier reef, fringing reef, and atolls. The Great Barrier Reef of Australia is a good example of the first kind of coral reefs. Atolls are circular or horseshoe shaped coral reefs. You will see that barrier reef, suppose there is a boundary of the landmass, and you will have some water here, ocean water, then barrier reef will be somewhere here. Okay, and you have some water will be some ocean, marine water will be trapped here, and you will have ocean here. Similarly, fringing reef is also similar. Hmm. But it will be fringing reef will be nearer, a little bit nearer, and atolls are circular or horseshoe shaped structure. So from all the side you will see that a boundary is created and water will be trapped inside, which is marine water. So it is referred to as lagoon. Lagoon is trapped inside, and there is ocean outside and from all sides. So there is some land below the water, but which will not be visible. Okay, it is submerged land, and around that a boundary is created by reef. Reef structure is created which is visible from outside. So those are the atolls. Okay, atolls. Now let's move to, now you see the elongated chain of islands located in the Bay of Bengal. Now we are going towards Andaman. elongated chain of islands. So how is Andaman located? Almost like this you will see in the ocean. Elongated chain extending from north to south. These are Andaman Nicobar Islands. They are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered. So we are comparing with Lakshadweep group of islands. So Andaman and Nicobar group of islands, they are bigger in size and they are more numerous. So there are more number of it and scattered. So they are all over the place in the Indian Ocean. The entire group of in Bay of Bengal, sorry, the entire group of islands is divided into two broad categories. All the island groups they can be divided into two broad categories, which are the Andaman in the north and Nicobar in the south. Again, that is important. Andaman and Nicobar, when we are saying that, so Andaman group is in the northern side, and you have Nicobar group, which is in the southern side. It is believed that these islands are elevated portions of submarine mountains. Elevated portions of submarine mountains. Submarine mountain means there are mountain ranges below the ocean. Hmm. Suppose this is the ocean bottom, then you have mountain ranges here, and they are protruding out of the sea surface. Suppose this is the ocean surface, so some part will be visible outside. So these are the island groups, which are this. So sometimes, if you see the map, they are also considered to be part of Himalayas only. If you see, Himalayan range is coming from here, folding is happening, and Purvanchal is up to here. If you extend it, it can reach here. The plate boundaries are here, so it it is possible that tectonic activities might be leading to, or volcanic activities might be leading to the formation of Andaman and Nicobar group of islands as well. Now, these island groups are of great strategic importance for the country. Great strategic importance for the country. There is great diversity of flora and fauna. These islands lie close to the equator and experience equatorial climate and has thick forest cover. So we will see these 2 points briefly, as they are important from IR perspective as well as. So the world map is not here. Okay, world map is not here. Otherwise, we would have seen that. So Andaman there, what is the strategic importance? Strategic importance is that below that the Malacca Strait, which is part of the maritime. We have seen this in the first chapter when we were reviewing that. So that is the strategic importance. Okay, because the Malacca route is very nearer to Andaman Sea, and without the cooperation or security provided from the Andaman, Malacca Strait will not function properly. That's why it's a very strategically positioned position. Next is the biodiversity because it is nearer to equator, as covered. Now, one important figure: India's only active volcano is found in the Barren Island. That is an important name that you should remember. Barren Island is where? In the Andaman Nicobar group of islands. And you should also try to find out when was the last time this volcano was active. I what I can remember, it is 1991, but try to find out. A detailed account of the different physiographic units highlights the unique feature of each region. Now we are summarizing the chapter that we have read. It would, however, be clear that each region complements the other and makes the country richer in its natural resources. The mountains are the major source of water, and so it is saying that each region complements the other. And now, how it complements, that is being said here. The mountains are the major source of water and forest wealth. The northern plains are the granaries of the country. They provide the base for early civilizations, hmm, large populations, we read. The plateau is a storehouse of minerals. So, how they are complementary, that is what is being elaborated. In brief, which has played a crucial role in the industrialization. The coastal region and island groups provide sites for fishing and port activities as well as tourism. Tourism can also, the whole of the country is providing tourism, but island groups are specifically more known for that. And port activities, trading routes are there. The diverse physical features of the land have immense future possibilities of development. So that concludes this lesson, and we will meet for the next chapter in the next video. Till then, revise and try to attempt these questions. Thank you.